This is the best pitcher you've never heard of for the Birds, but this is Samuel Basallo, and he is ready for the big leagues. Hello, everybody. I'm Jon Leiberman. This is Orioles Digest. I don't want to talk about rock bottom. Everybody's doing that. I don't want to talk about the horrible loss last night when we were up 8-0. Everybody's doing that. I don't want to talk about how the Birds are 6.5 out of the wild card, but they could easily be 5 at this point, or even 4.5 had they not squandered some games recently. I don't want to talk about any of that. What I want to talk about is Samuel Basallo should be in the big leagues. I'm going to tell you why, and I'm going to show you the best Orioles pitching prospect that you've probably never even heard of, Braxton Bragg, plus a breakdown of the Orioles offense. This is Orioles Digest. Again, I'm Jon Leiberman. Please like, subscribe, do all the things. We're over 2,000 subscribers, and we appreciate it so much. But it is only mid-June. A lot of Birds baseball left. Again, we're going to look past last night. We're going to hope for a split with the Rays today, and then you go to the Bronx and you face a struggling Yankees team, and you hope that the Birds can walk out with 2 out of 3 out of the Bronx. But let us start with a man named Samuel Basallo. He is absolutely crushing it at AAA. He's ready for the big leagues. He should come up to the big leagues, if for no other reason than to hopefully just add a little bit more energy, a little bit more spark, something more for this Orioles team. He can DH, he can, come in and relieve Adley in spot situations, because obviously Gary Sanchez is back, but he can do so much, and the Birds could really use a clutch hitter at this point as well. I need to show you this. This guy, that is just a sweet, sweet, sweet swing. And he hits the ball a long, long, long way. And what I'm most impressed about with Samuel Basallo is his maturity. And that's why I want to look at April, May, and where we are today. He even went through an injury. And if you look at the maturity of Samuel Basallo, you can see that he's only scratched the surface. And I say it's time for him to come to the bigs. I want to start with this. In April, this was his slash line: 229, 317, 486. That was through the end of April. Remember, he also missed 3 weeks with that hamstring injury. So he started off slow, no doubt about it. You go to May. He starts to pick up a little bit of steam. 6 homers and a .545 slugging percentage in May. Starts to pick it up. But then look at June. Look at this month and look at what he is doing. In his first 10 games this month, the slash line's 375, 444, 875, 6 homers. He's now second in AAA in home runs. That is an amazing stat. This is the number 1 prospect for the Orioles, number 16 in all of baseball. And I say call him up. Why not? Tell me in the comments why I'm wrong. Tell me why we shouldn't rush him. Tell me all the things that you're going to say. But I say call him up. And while we're on this topic, I love this stat more than anything. So WRC plus, for those of you who don't know, is essentially, it stands for weighted runs created plus. It's a really good measure of hitting against, versus other hitters and how you perform. And then, it's a great barometer. And since 2006, so almost 2 decades, only 5 players aged 20 or younger in AAA have posted a 150 plus WRC plus with a strikeout percentage number under 25%. Look at these names. Look at them. Look at this company. Vladdy, Mike Trout, Ronald Acuna Jr., Roman Anthony, and then you have our own Samuel Basallo with the 154 WRC plus and the K rate a shade under 25%. Samuel Basallo can rake. Samuel Basallo can hit. Samuel Basallo should be up in the majors. And I say, my friends, that it is time. That is Samuel Basallo. But there is something else I want to share with you. And that is this. This is why I think it is important that it's time for Basallo to come up. And I know this might be a little small. See if we can make it a little bigger. Offensive stats. The Birds are 7th in the AL now in hitting, all of a sudden, 11th in the majors. Most of this is obviously the last 3 weeks the Birds have started to hit. But if you really break it down, there are some positives here. You know, the power is fine and has basically been there for most of the years, or for most of the year rather, but the average has inched up a long way, mainly in part because we've started to hit lefties. Very important. The on-base percentage has inched up. The slugging percentage, as I just alluded to. And so now the Birds are at an OPS finally over 700, just a shade over 700, at 703. So this is a team that's starting to hit, starting to get healthy, and I believe Samuel Basallo could be just another shot in the arm for the Birds to make the team even better. Again, comment, tell me what you're thinking in the comments. I want to turn to this man. His name is Braxton Bragg, and you probably haven't heard of him, but Baseball America does, rankings of prospects. And this guy went from unranked to now number 9 in the organization. So it's actually pretty fascinating. Let me show you a little bit of video of him, tell you a little bit about him, so that you can get a sense for who Braxton Bragg is. Right-hander. Look at the sink on that ball. Let's watch it again. It was a pretty short clip. So Bragg, unfortunately, is on the 7-day IL. It's minor injury. He's going to be fine. But for right now, I want to share with you this, which is if you look at Bragg's stats, Braxton Bragg, he was drafted in 2023. He's 4-1 with a 1.24 ERA, 51 innings pitched, well more than 1 strikeout per inning at 67, a whip below 1. And this is a guy that, he was an 8th round pick. He's just burst onto the scene. ERA, 33.5% strikeout rate between single A and double A ball. Only ranked now for the Birds behind Chase McDermott and Michael Forret in Baltimore's pitching pipeline. Pay attention to Braxton Bragg. Let's hope the Birds can split with the Rays and go into the Bronx and do something with a struggling Yankees team and bring Basallo up. I'm Jon Leiberman, Orioles Digest.